Notice, one time Israel was called out to war against the Philistines. And the Philistines had gathered over on one side of the mountain and a valley between them, Israel on the other side. And just like the enemy always does, when he feels that he's got the upper hand, he likes to puff and blow and brag about it. When he thinks he can make you just cow you down. If the enemy thinks he can make that little heart of yours flutter a few times and make you think that you're not healed, he likes to do that. If he can make you look at your hand and say it's no better, he loves to do that because he's got you conquered right then. I see a crutch sitting back here by a lady. If he can make her believe that she's going to have to use that crutch to go out of here on, it's whipped. But when she won't look at that, but she'll look towards God's promise, it'll be left at the seat. You won't well, say, I've been crippled for years. I don't have nothing to do with it. It's what God said. That's the idea. He told me coming up, Satan did a while ago, said, you're too hoarse to preach. I said, you're a liar. And I could hardly whisper when I come to the door, but I walked in anyhow. Because God is going to do something here tonight, maybe save some soul or heal some purpose, for some purpose. And my duty is to stand here. Whether I can whisper or even grunt, God will do something anyhow, because He said He will. It's our duty to take our stand. It's God's duty to back us up. You do your part and find out if God won't do His. And this great army of the Philistines, which always was a fly in the ointment to Israel, they had a great big challenger over there by the name of Goliath. He must have been a mammoth big fellow. And they said that his fingers were 14 inches long. And the spear that he packed was like a weaver's needle, not from here to the wall. And oh, how he loved to brag, how he loved the proposition with the people. Like you hear that same devil today. Say, if there is such a thing as divine healing, old man Jones sits down here on the corner blind selling pencils. Go down and heal him. We'll believe you. That's the same devil that said to Jesus, if thou be the Son of God, do a miracle here before me. Turn these stones into bread. It's the same devil that put a rag around his face and hit him on the head with a stick and said, you who prophesies, tell us who hit you. The devil. It's the same one that said, come down off the cross and we'll believe you. God doesn't have to do anything to appease man. God doesn't clown for anybody. He's God and He doesn't have to. So this soldier who put the rag around his eyes and hit him on the head, he was just having some fun among those soldiers. Many people like to say, to puff their chest out and say, oh, there's no such a thing as divine healing. Let me challenge them to heal this one. Some fellow told me not long ago. First he made a statement on the radio just behind me, my broadcast, and he said, if they can prove one healing, I'll give $1,000. A doctor was listening in. This was at Jonesboro, Arkansas. A doctor was listening and he called me up. He said, Brother Branham, why don't you get this certain fellow that had been paralyzed and this preacher who had cancer on his neck? They are my patients. I can witness to him that they were healed by the power of God. I gathered up a load and we went over to this minister's house. He told me, well, he said, I'll tell you, you have to go over to Texas. And then I said, you want me to take him over there? I'll put that $1,000 in mission work. And he said, well, you take the little girl and go over there, and you take a knife and cut her arm, then heal it before us, and we'll believe you. I said, you need mental healing. Any man will want to cut a child's arm to see if you could heal it. Not even mentally right. They don't know it. What is it? It's because they like to brag and blow about something that they don't know what they're talking about. Just exactly. That's the way Goliath was. Oh, how he liked to brag. He said, I'll make you a proposition. You let some of your men choose you out one and come over and fight me. If I whip him, then you all serve us. If he whips me, we'll serve you. Oh, how Satan can make it so reasonable looking. That's the intellectuals. We will have no bloodshed. Just let one of us die. One man die, the rest of us live. Sure, he had the upper hand. And everybody was scared to death. And if there was one man in the whole nation of Israel that would have been equipped physically to fight the giant, was Saul. He was head and shoulders above his entire army. And he was well trained. He knew all the maneuvering, how to handle a spear, or how to hold his shield to knock a lick off. Not only that, but he was a trainer of man. The largest man in the nation, the best trained man in the nation, but one of the biggest cowards in the nation. And that's the way it is today. It doesn't take the educated and the trained, but he had never put God to a test. But one day, from way back on the backside of the desert, come a little ruddy-looking, drawn-up knot. Jesse's son, David, a little sheepskin coat on him with packing a slingshot in his hand. That giant made his brag at the wrong time. David looked over and said, do you mean to tell me that you'll let that uncircumcised Philistine stand up there and defy the armies of the living God? Could you imagine the littlest man on the ground taking up his challenge? The biggest man and the best trained man and the more equipped man to fight the man was cowardly. Brother, it doesn't lay in training. It lays in experience. And David was brought up before Saul. Saul said, well, that man is a military man. He's been a warrior from his youth. And you're nothing but a youth. But he was talking to a man that had experience. He said, sir, when I was taking care of my daddy's sheep out behind the mountains, one day there was a lion come in, and he grabbed one of my sheep, and he ran off with him. I took my slingshot and knocked him down. And I went after my lamb. And when I picked the lamb out of his mouth, he rose up against me, and I slew him. And he said, a bear come in and got one. And I knocked him down. He said, and the God that delivered me out of the paws of the lion and out of the mouth of the bear, how much more will he deliver me out of the hands of that uncircumcised Philistine? He didn't know any theology, but he knew God. He had an experience. He was talking to a man that was full of fighting theology. but he never had put God to the test. That's the way it is today. It doesn't take education. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. It takes a humble heart who's been dedicated to the power of the resurrection of Christ and filled with the Holy Ghost that knows what they're talking about. He said, your servant will go fight him. And the God, you see, the first thing, there was a need. There was a crisis. And if there ever was a crisis, it's now. Oh, he said, I'll go fight him. And of course, Saul couldn't let him go like that. He knew too much about modern theology. He said, come out here and pick up my sword. Let's see how you handle it. And he put his armor on him. And when this great big armor of a man head and shoulders above every man in his army, out on a little bitty knotty runt, you could imagine how his little legs both together and his eyes stuck out and the helmet down over his ears. He said, take this thing off of me. Like a man feel a calling of God and he has to go away and spend 20 years of his life learning Greek. You don't want to know Greek, you want to know Christ is what you need to know. He said, take the thing off. I've never proved it. I don't know what this theology will do for me. Let me go with this, what I know about. That's what the church needs tonight. It's not a school to educate you, to get a lot of stuff and you don't belong there. You need faith and an experience in a resurrected Jesus Christ to set your soul afire, to call those things which are not as though they were. That's what the world needs tonight, or what the church needs. Not the world, the church. You can't blame the world, but you can the church that's already had an experience of passing from death unto life.